welcome back to my knitting podcast. I think this is my 5th. If you're new here, my name is Katie. I am a content creator from London. I've been making content online for the past 14 years and I chat about all things London lifestyle, where to go on a date night, food and weekly vlogs here on YouTube. I taught myself how to knit at the start of the year and I'm like obsessed, so I'm going to be following the normal knitting podcast format of showing you my finished items, some works in progress, and I don't actually have any yarn acquisitions this month. I've been trying to like work through all of my gift knits that I'd already purchased yarn for and prepared for, so yeah, we've got kind of quite a lot of works in progress, but I am filming a separate knitting gift knit project vlog kind of, so that'll be coming up to my YouTube channel soon. Let's kick straight in with my first finished item from the last month, and oh my god, this is like my most proud thing I've made to date. This is the EUN sweater. This is a pattern by November Knits. It is a top down raglan construction. I am so excited to finish this. I finished this about 3 weeks ago. I want to say it took a good week to dry from blocking just because it is so cold in London at the moment, but since she's dried I've worn her out so many times. I just know this is going to be such a staple piece in my wardrobe for the rest of my life, which just fills me with so much joy knowing that I not only have made this from scratch, but knowing that it's also kind of sustainable because it will hopefully be an item that I can pass down, and I absolutely love it. So ignore the little stitch marker here. I really need to like sew some little labels in the back. So at the moment, just to remind me what's the back, I have the tiniest bit of thread and also a stitch marker, which to be fair I could probably take out because this has got German short rows in the construction, so it's very obvious what is the front and what is the back. For this project I have used Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the shade Thundercloud, which is a really beautiful grey, dark like mild grey, and then I've teamed it with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the shade Midnight, which is kind of like a dark navy blue. If you want to see those, check out the previous knitting podcast because I show the difference. And it's just made the most beautiful kind of dark grey with flecks of navy in it. This took me, I want to say, around a month kind of on and off to make. I actually made this jumper, my kind of custom raglan jumper, in between starting this. This only took me 2 weeks, so as soon as that was finished I cracked on with this and I worked it up. I feel like it worked up really quickly. As I said in my last podcast, I really scared myself with the instructions of this because, as I said, I'm a beginner knitter and the instructions are long and some of them are quite complicated, especially when you first start, because you're working these amazing like beautiful details around the raglan increases, but also work in German short rows, which means you have to work the raglan increases on the purl side, so it's all kind of switched and reversed, and you also need to work these increases on the purl side too, which is slightly different. Once I cracked on, like I read the instructions loads of times, once I cracked on I actually found it was surprisingly beginner friendly, and I had no other questions or points throughout this sweater where I was like, oh, I'm stuck. So obviously some distinguishable features in this jumper are the long split hem ribbing, which looks like this. It's so beautiful, and also the long ribbon on the arm, which again is just so beautiful, and this blocked out so well. It's really kind of flared out and got the most beautiful drape to the whole garment, and it's so flattering. I think I've done the ribbing a lot longer than a lot of people I've seen on Instagram and Ravelry. I'm not sure why that is. I did do it like I stuck exactly to the instructions that the pattern called for. Actually, maybe it's because I'm a bit short. I'm only 4'11", so I'm a lot shorter than the average person, so maybe that's why it looks so long on me, but I really don't mind that. It kind of just skims and covers my bum, which is fine. It means I can wear with leggings, which is nice. So since I've been wearing it, I've noticed a couple of things. Firstly, it is so warm. This fabric, probably my warmest jumper that I own, and I end up sweating so much when I wear this, so I think it's definitely going to be one that is suited more for like deep winter layering up with a nice coat, rather than just, to be fair, I could probably wear it out by itself on an autumn's day and be fine, but I do normally tend to wear a coat as well just because I like having pockets. But yeah, this is super toasty, super warm. I'd love to compare it to the Knitting for Olive Merino, which is what the pattern originally called for, so I did go up to a heavier one. I don't know why I did that. I'm not mad about it. And also my second observation is it is slightly itchy for me. I definitely get a slight itch on my arms. I actually have got a little bit of an eczema flare up on my arms at the moment. Need to not itch that. So I have found that I've been wearing a long sleeved top, thin long sleeve top underneath, and that kind of makes it easy to wear and comfortable to wear all day. So I am so proud of myself for knitting this and making this. It was my most like luxurious and expensive garment to date. I think it came to like £125 in total for the yarn, and then yeah, like a month or like 5 weeks to make. It's gonna last me a lifetime. I would love to knit this again. If I knit this again, I'd go for a more neutral beigey colour, I think, or maybe like a nice true navy. I do wish I had done something other than grey, but hey ho, it's still very easy to wear, and I know I'll get a lot of wear out of this. So that is my first finished object. The second finished objects are 2 gift knits. I'm like on gift knitting frenzy at the moment. In fact, I've just got so many on the go because I cannot like stop casting on new things. I'm sure you all can understand the frustration with that. But the first gift knit, and I hope my parents aren't watching, is a hat for my dad for Christmas. I'm making my mum, dad, sister and my husband all a knitted item this Christmas, and my dad wanted a hat, so I have made him this. This is the ribbed beanie knitting pattern by Louise Bolanos. I will leave links to everything down below. Oh, her knitting handle I think is Handy Little Me. I sent my dad loads of pictures of hats and he chose this one. I've knit this in Drops Air held together with Drops Charisma, and it's a super thick chunky ribbed hat which really didn't take long to knit up at all. The only thing that I'm slightly sad about is I like knit it to size what the pattern called for, so like this long, but it is like such a big folded rim. I don't think it needed to be that folded. I'll try it on so you can see, but you can either like fold it up a lot, like a really big rim, and have like a shorter bit at the top, which I imagine is how my dad's gonna wear it, or you could make a shorter rim and wear it a bit more like that, which is how I normally wear my beanies. But yeah, it's just, I don't think it needed to be that long. I think it could have done with being a little bit shorter, which is fine. There's a couple of ways my dad can wear this, and pattern itself was super easy to follow, and as I said, because it's kind of such chunky yarns that I used, it knit up really quickly. I don't think anyone else on Ravelry has used the yarn combination that I used. I tried it with Drops Flora and Drops Air and that wasn't thick enough, so then I had a spare ball of Drops Charisma, so I used that instead. But yeah, highly recommend this quick easy knitting pattern. And then the last finished object is another hat, and this is for my friend's son for Christmas. His favourite colour is orange, so I knit him up this. I think this is Drops Charisma again in an orange shade, held together with an orange Drops Kid Silk in an orange, and so it's got this really pretty mild kind of two-tone where you can kind of see that lighter orange shade popping through, and it's got a nice bit of fuzz to it yet. I haven't blocked this, so I'm hoping it will maybe grow a bit, but the pattern I used is the Danny Boy pattern. It's a free pattern on both Ravelry and Lovecraft. Amazing pattern. I think this is like my 5th Danny Boy hat. That's how much I love it. Oh, and the designer is Cascade Yarns, so you're supposed to use Cascade 220 with this, but I didn't. I freestyled. So yeah, this is just, again, super quick. I think I knit this up in one day. It was so quick. I hope it fits him because I didn't have his head measurements, but he can either wear it kind of rolled or flat like that. Really recommend this pattern. I just love the kind of faux cable repeat that you can't actually see too much on this hat because of the mohair. It kind of distracts, but it's still super cute. On to my whips, my works in progress, and this first one is, I think, the most exciting thing I've ever knit. Like, this is like my pride and joy. This is my baby at the moment. I could not be prouder of myself for getting this far in a project. Let me show you. I am making the porcelain sweater by Linnet. I have been making such good progress. Before I talk about this, I do want to say I am filming a whole dedicated knitting project vlog just for this jumper, documenting my whole process with it from start to finish. So if you do want to make the porcelain jumper yourself, but you're scared, or you want to see how I get on with it first, be sure to subscribe, because that will be coming very shortly, well, as soon as this jumper is finished. But so far, I have nearly finished the body of this jumper. So I started this 2 weeks and 2 days ago, and I've already made such good progress. So I talk about the construction of this in a little bit more detail in that dedicated project vlog, but you basically cast on such a small amount of stitches at the back. You literally cast on this much, and then you work back and forth and increase along the back panel. You work the first colourwork chart pattern on the back flat, and then there are two options to start the shoulders. There's a seaming option or a German short row option. I chose the German short row option. So basically you pick up stitches along one side of the back and work German short rows back and forth, and then do the same on the other side, and then you join in the round. The thing that scared me about this pattern was so many people have had problems with colourwork chart B, which is this leaf motif here. I actually didn't find that too annoying at all. I do have some like little tips in my knitting project vlog that I found super helpful for keeping on track. So if you want to know all my tips, things that really helped me, be sure to check out that vlog when it goes live. You do have to like increase and decrease depending on what size you're working on the first round of this chart, which again I found very easy. I did knit two together to decrease under the arms, and then I did make one left to both arms again, and I don't think it's very noticeable at all where I did that. You can't really see that at all. And yeah, I've just finished the final colourwork chart on the bottom, and I literally just started the ribbing now. I think the ribbing is going to take a super long time. I'm hoping to get it done by this weekend. By the end of this weekend, I would really ideally like to have finished the ribbing and also done the neck. I don't know if I'm being too, like the collar, I don't know if I'm being a little bit too ambitious with that, but I'm going to really attempt to like smash some good hours into it over the weekend. Yeah, it's just so far I'm so happy with how this is working up. Yarn wise, I am using Sadness Garn Tin Pigin. I always say that wrong. Sadness Garn Pear Tingin. I think that's how you say it. In the shade 2064. I want to say it's Marzipan. Let me just check. Oh, I got that well wrong. It's the shade 2641, and I'm holding that double with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. Pattern calls for a mohair. I've decided on the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk because I find it less itchy, and also the colour match worked out really, really well. Like, they are super similar. I can't remember the shade of this, but it will be in my knitting podcast, and I will leave it linked down below. And yeah, that's given a very nice fluffy cream shade. And then for the blue, I'm using Sadness Garn Tin Pigin in the shade 6046, which I think is called Jolly Blue, and I'm holding that double with Drops Brush Alpaca Silk in a blue shade. I can't remember the name again, but I'll leave it down below. So my only annoyance, like at first I was so excited that these were slightly different because I thought it would really make this blue pop, but now that I've been working it up, I really wish I'd bought a darker blue shade to match this a little bit more, because there are some points in the colourwork chart where it's like very noticeably different. Like some of it looks really dark like here, and then it goes like very light like here, and it makes it look like my stitches haven't got enough definition. Like here, can you see this bit is lighter than this bit, which I like, and does kind of look a little bit more rustic, but also annoys me just a little bit because it looks like my stitches aren't as defined as it would have been if I had used two blues that really go together. But like, I think I'm just being a bit finicky here. I don't think it's as bad as I think. Also, I noticed when I was looking at a picture of this the other day that this little, can you see this flower here? The white stitch in the middle isn't as defined as it should be, and I just did not notice that when I was knitting it. I think there is I don't think I made a mistake. The stitch is there. Can you see that? It is there, but it's just being swallowed up by the fluffy blue. So I think, I've never done duplicate stitching before, but I think I'm going to have to learn how to do that to emphasise that a little bit more. Otherwise it looks very different. Like, I can't see anything other than that now. Apart from that, I'm so happy with my progress. So I would really love to have this finished in the next couple of weeks. I think at least 3 weeks it's going to take me to finish this, because I've still got the sleeves to go, and the sleeves also have the colourwork charts. Also, according to Ravelry, the colourwork on the sleeves is really frustrating. Oh, I actually have one more thing I want to say, and maybe some of you can help me before I get to working on the colour in the sleeves. But because you're working in the round on these colourwork charts, the patterns don't match up, like the lines don't match up. I watched loads of videos on how to do jogless Fair Isle knitting, and that just like fudged up. Can you see? I didn't do the Fair Isle here, and you can kind of see where like they're off just because you're working in the round. So for this one I tried to work some jogless rows, and it's just very obvious. I don't know if you can see that. I don't like it. So if anyone has any tips for not getting that jog when you're working in the round on colour work, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love some advice on how to do that before I work on the sleeves, because that's going to be a lot of like jogged lines. That might be quite noticeable, might not, I don't know. But yeah, this is the porcelain sweater. I'm so proud of myself. My other works in progress are all gift knits. I'm going to run through these super quickly. You don't need too much information about these. I am making a hat called the Perfect Day Beanie by Kuto Vakika. I will of course leave it down below. I'm making one of those for my sister. I'm using Drops Air in the shade Strawberry Ice, which I've just fallen absolutely in love with because there are so many different shades of pink in this hat. I don't know if you can see, but there's some like white, there's some cream, there's some like little purpley bits. I absolutely love this coloured yarn. I think it's so beautiful. It does look like whipped strawberry ice cream. In my last knitting update I was making the Danny Boy hat with this yarn for my sister, and I got this far and I wasn't enjoying it. I thought it looked huge and I wasn't enjoying the definition. Drops Air just doesn't have that definition for a pattern. It just looks huge. Like, it does fit, but it looks huge, and I know that this yarn will probably stretch when I block it. So yeah, I put that on hold whilst I started working up another hat, and typically this is too small. I don't know what is going wrong with my hat knitting at the moment, but this is way too small. I'm hoping, as I said, when it blocks out it will stretch a bit. Like, it is fine. My sister does like a tight hat, she said, so, but I do hope it blocks out a tiny bit. For this hat, you knit a certain amount of inches and then you fold it inwards and you knit that together with the cast on edge. So this first bit is like double folded, it's like a double folded brim, and then you continue knitting for a certain amount and then you can fold it up again. So it's like triple folded brim. So it's a lot of knitting, but it does go by very quick. And now I'm currently working my decreases. I've kind of put this down for a bit because I really wasn't happy with how my slip knit was looking. My like knit two together is so nice. You can't even see where I've done it. But then my slip knit here just looks really annoying and obvious. So I've put this down for the meantime because I was really annoyed at how that was looking and I didn't want to have to rip it back. I think I'm just going to continue with how I was doing it. And since then I've worked out how you actually should do it to make it not as noticeable. My camera battery just died. we're back. I watched some videos and it said when you slip knit you should slip the first one purlwise and then slip the second one knitwise. That just is giving me really obvious decrease, but I worked out that if I slip them both knitwise it actually doesn't look noticeable at all, so I'm just going to try and do the rest normally. But yeah, this should be done soon, hopefully. I said I wasn't going to talk about these for long, and what am I doing? I'm yapping on. This is a whip that I haven't touched in about 2 months. I cast on the mixed rib cami by Handmade by Florence. I am using Knitting for Olives merino in navy blue, which is the most beautiful blue. I'm so excited to have this finished because, oh, I found a little tapestry needle in there. That's handy, isn't it? I'm so excited to finish this at some point because I love the colour of this. I think it's so flattering against pale skin. I'm currently working up the back panel. This is just taking me a really super long time because of the mixed rib pattern, which actually I'm not finding too annoying. I've kind of got into a little routine with it, but I am excited to doing it in the round at some point. Maurice, what are you doing? I've got a cat trying to get in my knitting bag. He's actually trying to get in there. Can you not? Maurice? Maurice? Oh my god, what are you doing? Maurice? You're okay. Okay. Ignore that. I'm not sure. This is one that I was only taking on trains and working up on trains, which was a little bit difficult because the needles are so small and so precise and intricate. But I haven't picked this up since I've started working on my gift knits because I've got so many gift knits to do before Christmas and the time limit is stressing me out. I will hopefully have that done in time for next summer. I've nearly finished a mitten for my mum. I'll save that to show you in my project vlog, and I've cast on 2 hats for myself, and my favourite, oh, now he's behind me. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can go up there. Cast on 2 hats for myself. This is purely because I'm just so excited about the yarn colours that I've chosen, because I'm nearly done with some of my gift knits. I thought I'd cast on one for myself. Also, I accidentally put my favourite hat in the washing machine and it completely fell apart, so I do need a new hat myself. I've decided to make myself a perfect day beanie to match my sister's, so I'm using the same pattern but using 2 different yarns. I'm using Drops Air in the shade Ruby and Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in the shade Bordeaux. Details will be on my Ravelry. I had quite a few balls left over from this jumper that I made, so I'm making a hat to match, and it's the exact same yarns. I'm so excited to have a little matching set, and I ideally would like to wear this next weekend. I'm going to Winter Wonderland and I'd really like to have it ready by then, so I am only going to be working on this when I travel on public transport over the next week. How am I supposed to make content when you're being so cute? I'm like, I've got at least double this to go before I can then fold it inwards and seam it together with the cast on edge. But I'm hoping, like, I'll be on a train for about an hour today and about an hour tomorrow and about half an hour on Friday, so I'm hoping I can really work on that over the next couple of days. I've also cast on another hat. I'm using a free pattern from Drops. It's Drops Winter Smile hat, and I'm using this amazing bright blue shade of Drops Air, which I'm just obsessed with. I cannot wait to wear this hat, but this hat is made with ribbing, so it's just taken me so long. I mean, I've only done this probably for about an hour or 2. It's just going to take me a very long time, and I thought this could go in the back seat whilst I finish everyone else's gift knits. Talking of everyone else's gift knits, I've got one more to update you on, and that is my first ever sock for my husband. He's getting a sock for Christmas. Oh my god, I'm hating this so much. I never ever want to make a sock again, and I have to make 2 of them. I'm hating it. So I'm using Drops Fable in pink and Drops Fable in this variegated yarn. It said do the main sock bit for 6.5 inches. I think that's way too long. He's tried it on and it's way too long. Then I've separated and started working on the heel flap. It was all growing great until I stopped, and then I picked it back up again, and I've gone really wrong. Can you see how wrong I've gone? Like, this bit is good and this bit is really bad. I don't know what I've done. I'm going to have to rip it back. I'm thinking of ripping it back to like here and then starting the heel flap slightly higher, because this took me so long to knit and I'm very aware that I'm going to have to do the same for the other one, so I want to make my life easier. I've just been putting this off because these stitches are so tiny. This is like the smallest needle I've ever worked on. It's like 2mm. I'm really worried that I'm not going to be able to pick up all my stitches. I really should have put a lifeline in, but I didn't. Yeah, I'm just hating this. We've actually booked a little holiday to Copenhagen to check out the Christmas markets in December, early December, and I'm thinking of just taking the sock project on the flight with me, because then it will be like dedicated hours that I'll have nothing else to work on apart from this, as a way to like force myself to work on the sock. I'm gonna try and get this like fixed and like ripped back before we go on that trip. I'm also just generally very excited for that trip because I'm very aware that Copenhagen is the home of like knitting for Olive. There are so many yarn stores in Copenhagen. I'm definitely going to drag G around to some of them with me. If you'd like to see some of the yarn shops I visit, be sure to subscribe, because I think I am going to vlog that trip and make some content about the yarn stores there. That was a very, very long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've got any questions. I love reading your comments, so I'd love to know what you are working on at the moment as well. And I will see you in my next knitting podcast, guys. Mwah! Say goodbye. Say goodbye.